Welcome to the GM Perspective. I'm Kasey, Ramey, and joined by
Preston, Hobson.
How you doing today, Preston?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good.
We're coming off a Monday off and getting ready to do a volleyball podcast. We sit down with Ms. Bennett, Ms. Burrelli, Athletic Director Ms. Soboleski, volleyball players Magdalen Kennedy, and Ella Sturgess.
Yeah.
So we're diving into a volleyball season. They have a game coming up tonight, and click to my next one. Go. Okay. So we have. Where am I going with this? I need to start asking questions. I'll come. So to anyone who, what is one moment from this season that you would like to relive or as we look forward into finishing up this volleyball season, whoever wants to go first?
I think one of our strong moments was our first game of the season against First Year's Prep because we were down 2 sets and then we came back and won 3. So a lot of the girls were so happy. They were in tears. It was a very pivotal moment of them knowing they can do something and beating a good team. So we look back on that a lot and we think about that match and how we can grow from it and setting that example of when you are down by a certain amount, coming back and winning.
So that was a good game and season opening. So when we're going through those games or a tough game, how does that help? What helps you guys get back into the zone and continue to come and win up or get to that point of winning or coming back from a hard game?
I think it's a lot of our leaders, and Ella and Mags here are 2 of the great ones we have. Just pulling everyone together, not getting our heads down, thinking about how far they have come and how far they've grown this season, and competing when we go to tournaments against the big teams. They're showing how far they've grown.
Growing seems to be a big thing in volleyball and in all sports.
What's something you've learned from playing volleyball that you didn't expect to learn?
Oh gosh.
Definitely taking on more of the leadership role. I definitely always want to encourage my team and be there for others. So I think that's definitely a big part that I learned.
Yeah, and learning that you can't control every outcome, no matter how much you put into something or whatever. You can't control everything, but as long as you're enjoying yourself, I think it's worth it.
Yeah. How do you think being an athlete has changed you personally? Are there things you handle differently in life because of your sport?
Definitely just being more determined going into things and knowing that I can do them and I don't know.
I definitely just became way more organized than I probably would have if I didn't do sports, because I have to do things at certain times, so I'm not staying up till 3 a.m. doing homework or whatever. So that's something I could probably use when I'm in my adult life or whatever.
On the topic of volleyball and extracurriculars, how is volleyball the only sport you play in the fall, or are there other things you guys do in the fall? And then obviously there's a lot of preparation before we start school for volleyball as well.
I play volleyball all year round. I do a club team. I did one through Fairview last year, but now I'm playing with our actual school this year.
I just do volleyball in the fall, and then I will then I'll do track and field in the spring, and then I lift and do indoor track. But yeah.
To our coaches, and what does the planning take to get ready to start the season, and then the preseason prep, and how's that look for our team?
Well, we're just constantly getting reps. Constant reps will progress our fundamentals. We're actually creating 2 club teams for us to play year round. So just trying to gain those fundamentals and pursue them into the next season.
Fundamentals are a big thing. Do you guys start with volleyball in middle school? Do you help interact with the middle school teams a lot?
So actually, Coach Burrelli is going to be coaching one of our middle school teams this year. And we are having a clinic in the fall for our 3rd graders through 8th graders. And then we also do that in the summer just to build the foundation from the bottom coming up to the top.
Do players help with that? What do kids get excited for the clinics? Are they?
Yeah, so our players actually get to be the coaches at those. So they get to be in our shoes for a little bit and see what that's like.
Players, tell us a little bit more about those clinics and how those operate, or the fun things you guys get to do with them.
I think just working with the little kids in general, I always choose to go with the little ones because they're just funny and hanging out with them is fun, but also them just learning the basics, like passing. It's definitely challenging for them, but it's just a lot of fun just to work with them.
I often work with like the older kids, just because I'm not like a little kids person, but I like working with the older ones because I like to be able to actually like see progression in like the days that we do work with them and seeing how they do eventually get to like the part of like playing the game and not letting the ball just like drop and being like, okay, whatever, but like they actually want to play.
Yeah, to go off that, I feel like volleyball is such like a hard sport to play as an athlete. So getting the little kids touching the volleyballs, getting them to be able to pass, set, and serve is just such a huge thing at a young age.
So when we are in that, so it obviously starts coming from middle school, going into high school. We're coming into the season volleyball. We're in the middle. We have a game coming up tonight. What are we looking for the game that's coming up tonight against Harbor Creek?
We've just told them to play from the heart and everything that they've worked from this summer when we met them to now in this moment. Last time we played Harbor Creek, we didn't get the outcome we had, but we know what we need to do to get the win tonight.
So, how many games do you guys have left in the season?
Tonight is our last regular season game, and then varsity is at a tournament at Maplewood this Saturday.
How are you? Are you guys in playoffs and stuff like that?
That
To be
is
determined.
undetermined now.
Well, okay,
To
well,
be determined.
so if that does happen, what is like your mindset going into that, and how are you guys preparing for that?
Taking it one game at a time, honestly. When we go into it, no matter who we're playing, no matter what seed we're playing against, we take it as if we're playing the best team or the worst team.
The one nice thing going into playoffs, like we're the underdog, so we don't have that stress to be like we have to win this game to so I feel like playing against like the top tier teams, they have a little bit more stress while we're going in and we're walking in and trying to give them our best game. So that will be a nice thing to look forward to.
As we plan for playoffs, Ms. Soboleski, what does that look like as a school? Do you have more work when our teams go to playoffs, or is that pretty much expected and then you plan for it in the beginning of the year?
Yeah, so we expect that our teams are going to get into playoffs. We have to wait until District 10 releases, what that's going to look like and who we're going to play. So like right now in AAA, there's 7 teams. We were just taking a look at it. They send you something in the beginning of the season that says, they could take up to 8 teams. Well, there's only 7, so we're looking at it, and maybe they're only going to take 6. We're not sure. We have to kind of wait. And then it's a game by game thing, and we just plan as we go, and we expect to keep rolling.
So obviously we expect to keep going and planning and looking at that. What are some of the things that you guys prepare before a game or get ready to do a big match, players?
Personally, I take a game day nap. We'll have like team dinner or something, or if we stay after school, I will take a little sweet nap because I need it after school, but that's personally what I do.
I either have to put headphones in or just find someone and just talk their ear off so I don't get nervous about the game. So I'm just focused on something else.
Coaches, do you have things? I mean, obviously you'd love to take a nap probably after school.
I typically I'm at the elementary school, so I typically come straight here after work, so it's pretty routine-like coming straight from with my kiddos there to my kiddos over here.
I usually walk my dog before the game, so that's something I do every time. But I feel like during the school day, I'm constantly trying to hype these girls up, be like, it's game day.
Okay. So, coaches, what are some of your past volleyball playing experiences?
So I played at Fort LaBeouf, and we had a very good run there. It was very exciting. I had a great time, great coach, great experience. And then I was coaching at LaBeouf for middle school and club team.
I played at a small school. It's called Neshannock High School. We are actually the Lancers too. And then I played at Edinburgh for the past 5 years, and this is my first year coaching. It's been a really great experience from going to playing to coaching.
Is there something that you took from your coaches that you instilled into yourselves and then want to put onto your players?
Yeah, I think it's that continuous show of being a leader and being that role model for them and having those expectations and holding them accountable for everything. We want to set those standards when we come in and hold them and not be kind of loosey-goosey with it, but just keep everything in a tight order.
I feel like Coach Bennett and I came from very successful programs, and so we kind of know like how to implement some of those things from like what we played from, and then implement here. And then we constantly like use drills from like our other coaches too, and try to like modify them to make it more successful for our team.
Does your team have, talking about close together and working together, does your team have some bonding activities, or what? How do you get closer as a team? Whoever wants to talk about that.
Our big thing we have is team dinner. So every home game, we all go to someone's house and just eat dinner together and like spend time. But we also do a lot of team bonding activities, like during the summer, or just like on weekends.
Mm-hmm.
So are you guys obviously in contact throughout the year, hanging out with each other before games and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty close with everyone on the team.
Yeah, me too. Even the new freshmen coming in.
How is that looking like for a team? I mean, you guys have played for a couple years. Obviously it's probably easy, or is it harder to become friends with the freshmen, creating that unity of a team?
Honestly, I say as long as you're just like a good person, like as long as you don't see them as like, I don't know, unequal, because I feel like sometimes as like you get older or whatever, you're like, I'm just too good for you. Like you can't be in that kind of mindset when you're on a team. Like anyone can play anywhere. So I say as long as you are just like a well-rounded person and just agree that they like to play volleyball too, I don't think there's ever a problem.
Yeah, it's like keeping them, like we're all on the same level here. Like I don't understand why we can't all be friends.
Yeah.
Ms. Soboleski, what is your playing experience and backgrounds?
Okay. Well, I played at McDowell High School, and then I played at Clarion University, and then I coached at Clarion as a graduate coach, came home, and switched my degree to teaching, went back to school, and actually started coaching here. When I was doing my student teaching, I was the JV volleyball coach here, and then if I remember correctly, because this is like 2001, 2002, I was the varsity coach for 2 years here. And then I ended up coaching at McDowell after that until I took this position.
Very nice.
So I want to ask about like the coaching turnover the last few years and like how hard it has been to rebuild the program.
We're taking it step by step. When we came in, we knew that there was going to be some trust issues, just because they haven't had a consistent coach here. But I think after they realized, like you're planning for the future and you're planning for years ahead, then they realized that we're not going anywhere anytime soon. So just creating that bond with them, and I think that Coach Burrelli and I have bought into this team and tried to gain their trust over the past few months.
I feel like gaining their respect was another big thing. Just having an overturn of coaches, like personally, I wouldn't respect the person coming in like as much and have those trust issues. But I think Coach Bennett and I did a really good job, like taking like our time, be like, okay, like we have to step back, like we can't like harp on them like, hey, do this, like we have to like be able to adapt. And I feel like the players did a really good job of adapting to us, and I'm like, oh, okay, woo, you got it.
So Ms. Bennett, what did you learn from at Fort LaBeouf that brought you helping and brought into your coaching strategies here?
So my coach over there, Coach Johnson, was great, and she was a mentor to me when I was coaching under her as well. Just setting the foundation of being organized, planning your practices, and making sure their foundations are set. Everything, like, she has been doing this for years and years and years, so she's a great mentor for me even still. Just reaching out and getting the drills or any recommendations.
Do you and her still communicate openly after?
Yes, absolutely, yes.
On the idea of planning, what does it take to put in game scheduling and timing to get ready for the season in advance with gym time and all that?
It's a process. We kind of had to work around both of our schedules and then the girls' schedules. We don't want to put anything on other sports as well because we want them to participate in other sports. Trying to figure out how much time we need in a practice of if we can cut down on some time, if we need more time on something. Trying to fit in all the skills and get everyone as much reps as possible.
Soboleski, what does it look like from your end on scheduling all of the events into a year and with limited gym space?
Yeah, so it's a juggling act, but a lot of the coaches have been here for a while, so like soccer and football and juggling that, they've kind of always done the same thing, so I really didn't have to make any changes there. When you have new people come in, you have to look at their schedules and what they need and try to find space for them. In the off season, they're going to be practicing with their clubs, teams here, and then also with middle school and then even younger open gyms. So you just kind of have to look at the schedule, find a space, and keep things equal for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Is that become, I mean, obviously it's probably on a huge calendar that you look at to plan gym space.
Yep. So we have like a facility use software that manages that and has calendars for every space in our school district. So.
Preston.
So, a second here.
Let him get suited up.
Miss Soboleski.
Yes.
So, who did you coach with here at GM?
Wow. Okay, so Teresa Kahn was the head coach, and she is now one of the owners of the Pittsburgh Passion, which is the female football team in Pittsburgh. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, and I learned a lot from her. She was a legend in volleyball at that time. And then my assistant coach was Sid Manchester, who was a baseball guy and a baseball coach here and possibly other sports too, but not really volleyball. And when I was first starting out to coach, they matched him up with me because he had a lot of experience as far as just coaching in the school district and things I needed to know logistically. So it was a big help.
Also, have you ever coached against Jenna as a player, and did you beat her?
Haha. So I had to have.
Yes.
What year did you graduate?
2019.
2019. I don't remember wins and losses. For 20 years, I coached against Leanne, and we would battle back and forth. And always wanted to play Fort LaBeouf because of the level of competition, and they're always a good team and always highly competitive. So that says a lot about Fort LaBeouf.
On the topic of Fort LaBeouf, how badly do you want to beat Fort LaBeouf?
It's a healthy competition. But yeah, getting a win against them it'd be very nice. It'd be nice little homecoming.
Let's head out into a little bit outside of off the court. To the players, do you see yourself continuing to play volleyball after graduating high school and into collegiate athletics?
Well, I guess since I'm the senior, I'll talk about this for a sec. I personally could only see myself playing like maybe like a club team or something, or just like having fun at like the beach with volleyball, because I really did this as just like a fun activity for me to enjoy during my high school years or whatever. Like, I know I'm not going to the Olympics, but I did have, like, I would say like anyone should do it, and I had a good time.
I have no clue. I'm
free agents.
Yeah, it's gonna be my senior year when I decide I consider it, then I'm like, no, I don't want to, but then I'm like, yeah, maybe I do. So I have no clue.
With that, playing volleyball and obviously coming into doing it for fun, are there things you've learned that you'll be able to use in the real world that you wouldn't have expected from playing volleyball to our high school students and then to our coaches as well?
Oh gosh, I just say be open to like new opportunities, and like what you think is going to happen is not actually what's going to happen. Like, you just got to be ready to, like, I don't know, be ready for, like, the impractical. Like, you're just going to play. Like,
mine's probably balancing, like, different stuff and being able to juggle multiple things at once, like being a student athlete, so, like, all my schoolwork plus having a game at night. So just being able to do multiple things at once.
And I agree with that, just the balancing act of everything, of trying to balance work, trying to balance volleyball, responding to everyone, and getting the schedules lined up. It's just a balancing act, but also trying to manage so you also have a little bit of free time and a little bit of time to relax.
They answered it. Yeah, and there's nothing much more to say.
In this season of a great season, were there any setbacks or things that we had to overcome as a team to get where we are now?
I think it's all mentally, like, it's kind of a mental game that they play in their head. Sometimes we'll lose a point and we'll get down themselves a little bit, so we just have to focus in on the winning mentality and that we are here to play, we are here to win, and they're holding themselves to a standard. So sometimes they get down on themselves, so they're very, very hard on themselves. But overall, it's just 1 point at a time. So we just need to get in the right headspace.
I think that that's like a big lesson with volleyball, because volleyball, if you look at it as a sport, is a game of mistakes. Like you make a mistake, you're giving a point away, so it can really beat you down. And you have to learn to be resilient and learn to say, okay, I made a mistake, it's gone, the ball's coming at me now, we've got to regroup and move forward. And that's a big lesson you can take in your life too. You know, there's always going to be setbacks, you're always going to be making mistakes, but you learn from it and you keep going.
And sometimes, like, I always talk to the JV team about this. Like, sometimes things just don't go our way. Like, we're ready. We have a great warm-up. We are so excited to play volleyball. And then as soon as we step on the court, everyone's making mistakes. And that's where, like, the mental aspect comes to it. Like, you can be trying so hard, and sometimes it just doesn't go your way. Like, that's okay. Like, that's sometimes just life. And I think just, like, them realizing that and be like, okay, like, I don't have to be perfect every single play. Like, it's just no one's perfect. So getting that and realizing that, I feel like that they will grow a lot as a player.
So I wanted to ask about, how do you guys think, like, the student section, like, affects how you play? And, like, do you guys want a big student section? And also wanted to ask, what school has had, like, the toughest one that, like, really gets in your head? And
Oh my gosh, I hated Fort LaBeouf student section. Sorry guys, but like, oh my gosh, y'all get in my head. I think it depends. Like, if I'm really getting like mad or something, like, I kind of like it because then it just like angers me to play better. But like, sometimes it'll be a distraction. Like, of course it's gonna be. They're trying to do that, but I think you just have to be an athlete and just block them out of your head. So.
I love student sections. I'm gonna be honest, like, I think Harbor Creek was definitely my favorite. They just had a huge one, and they were all just like united there. But I think student sections anywhere just like hype me up, and like, even if they're cheering against me, like, I don't know, it just encourages me to play better. And definitely at our school, like, I love being able to have like everyone there and have everyone cheering us on.
coaches?
I feel like student sections, like, either breaks a player down or makes them play better. And, like, personally for me, like, I love people coming to watch. Like, we gave them a show. Like, we knew, like, when we were stepping on the volleyball court, like, they were going to watch a good volleyball game. And I think just having, like, that support from our school shows a lot. Like, even though the outcome's not there, but they still show up every single time. So that says a lot about them.
And I think it's student athletes supporting student athletes. You'll see the whole soccer team come in sometimes, and then our girls will tell everyone, like, hey, soccer's having their senior night, go there, cross country. And they plan to go to the football game. So it's sports, like, supporting sports. Mm-hmm. So you go to each other's games, and it's great.
It seems that our team, your team gets along really well. What do you think makes that get along so well? Is it activities, coaching staff, the players are great friends? How do you think that all comes to be and getting along really well?
I think like all their different personalities coming together. Sometimes we don't know what's being said or who's doing what. But all their personalities coming together, they're so bubbly and energetic and ready to go. So it just makes it enjoyable and people that you want to be around.
I feel like this year, like, we created that a great culture for these girls, and like it started with the players though. Like, the upperclassmen were like very accepting of like the lowerclassmen, and I feel like the freshman and sophomore group is like a great group, and I think they'll carry that on too. And Ella will be a senior next year, and she's actually one of our captains. So like she'll be creating like still that culture and that atmosphere.
So as we get heading towards the end of the season and close of this podcast, what are some goals going forward for then coaches and then volleyball players to finish this volleyball season and looking into next season?
We just want to end the season on a good note. We want to do well against Harbor Creek. We want to do well at the Maplewood tournament. There's going to be some great teams there. And then we'll see what happens with playoffs and go from there and take it one game at a time. And then looking forward, we're starting the club team and we're starting the little kids camp. So we want to be doing this year round for them and start building the foundations at a younger age. So then we're setting the standards, their foundations, and moving on to next year. We have great underclassmen coming up who have gotten lots of varsity time. So they already have that experience. So we're hoping that that moves along to next year.
I'm ready to win.
That's so true.
I think this year just like helped me like build even more skills, and then I just want to use that next year and be able to like win a bunch of more games and just like get summer, especially because it's my senior year and I want to end on like a good note.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I hope that like whenever I leave, I hope that like everyone just like takes like, I hope that I gave enough leadership to like the younger girls or whatever to take initiative, and I hope that I was a good role model for them to like want to win and to play the sport as hard as you can.
On that topic of players and unity, what is a player that you think does a really awesome job that doesn't always get the public recognition that they should or deserve?
I think who's not here, Ella Kraus does a fantastic job. She's been in and out of the libero position, but sometimes defense does not get all the credit. Usually it's looking at who's spiking the ball, who's getting the most kills, but it's also the people that are getting the ball hit at them consistently and hard. And she has done a great job staying positive and being a great leader. And no matter if we are up by 10 or down by 10, she's constantly giving everyone positive feedback and telling them that we got this.
Yeah, for sure. With volleyball, if you can't pass, you can't play.
Mm-hmm.
But those players never get noticed, and I think she does a great job. And then you've got, is it Savannah?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And Leona,
Yes.
that I think are really good younger passers that will be a backbone for you. But you rarely see them because, like Jenna said, they're not spiking, they're not getting the aces, they're not the setter, so they get, kind of they're unseen, but they do a really good job.
Alrighty, well, in this week's episode of the GM Perspective, I'm Kasey Ramey. Oh, yeah. And of course, well, I'll go fix it later. This episode would not be possible without the support of the GM Foundation. We appreciate all the support that the Foundation provides to not only this podcast, but things throughout the entire district. For the episode of the GM Perspective, I'm Kasey Ramey, and joined by Preston Hobson, and thank you to all of our guests for joining us today. Make it a great week, and spread kindness when you can.